let's get started with a new inkjet print document. So what we're going to do is Command N for new. Take your custom inkjet and click OK. And then I'm going to hit the F key to work in full screen and Command 0 just to kind of make it full size there, and then I can hold space and move it where I want. We're going to look at the difference between point type and area type. 99% of the time in this class you're going to use point type, but I want to show what the differences are. So over here on the left we have a toolbar. There's one that's T for type, and if I roll over it you can see the shortcut for that is T for type, or type tool. Point type, which we use most of the time, we click on the tool and I simply click where I want to type. I don't drag anything, I just click where I want to type. Then this opens up the character options bar up here. So by default I have a black fill, no stroke. Then the character panel has some options on it, and then this is our font family. That's the name of the font or the way your typeface looks. And then you have some, so if I look at this, right, these are different font choices and you can see how they look over here, right, examples of them. Some font families or typeface families have settings underneath like bold, italic, stuff like that. Not every single one does. And then over here is the size of the type and then alignment options, right? Left, center, right, stuff like that. Within the character panel we have a bunch of other stuff we'll look at later, but I just wanted to show you that there's a paragraph and a character panel. We'll explore in more detail in the future. But back to this, right now the cursor's blinking really small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my font size to 120, hit tab, that's going to set it. You can see now my cursor is much bigger. Now I'm going to type out I love, oops, let's try that again. Make sure that you're clicked again on your artboard. I love typography. Okay? You can see now when I take my selection arrow, I click on it, it created this bounding box perfectly around what I typed. Another way of doing this, called area type, is you take the type tool again and we draw a rectangle or a square like this. We click inside, we do the same thing. I love typography. One thing you're going to notice is as soon as I was typing, it hit this bounding box that we created and went down to the next line. Let's see what else happens. Right? It stayed that size, whereas this one created it, fit perfectly around. I'm going to move this down really quick to show you something. So now if I take this and it's at 120 points and I click on a corner and drag, if I hold shift it stays proportional, right? I want to hold shift. And then you can see as I drag that out, the bounding box moved with it, and now my type got bigger. It's 165 instead of 120. With the surface area, I can take a corner like this and drag it out. And now you see it's still 120. My bounding box got bigger. My words no longer cut off because the line of my bounding box is over here. But the size of the type stayed the same. No matter what I do, I can make it really small, ILO, like that. You can see it's still 120. But the text is cut off within that bounding box. That is why most of the time we want to use this. The instances when you use this is perhaps in a grid-based design and you're trying to do columns of text or have something fit perfectly within a specified area. Really popular with magazine, newspapers, stuff like that, where you have specific columns of text and you automatically want it to go down. But in general designs like posters and logos, flyers, most of the time we want to use point type up here, and it's important to know the difference.